For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Assalamu alaikum badin latol min ben jibe kangal nal badi malam landin sise bim felali a 22 jang Gambia la no sol milialon ko ibe do ko lan health sector to bi tollen journalist sol kilijam pour ni kacha soto min be dending ila sit down strike la ala ya kalamuta ko Kerr Fatou keta media house le milialon ko ibe nyin development no iba follow kam bakele wadi soto ministry of health ye later o ki nyin no sol ye ka foye ko alla allowance nyin ta jono la for September and then no sole min fo wala nginti ko e ko ne Ministry of Health agreed pour que allowance jo August kono but ministry leta min sefe e ko ita jono la August kono but e ba consider le September allowance nying yana ka fu nyola ye no sol jo but no sol fana nata sefero ke kata Ministry of Health kan ka fo e ko ale leta min sefe kan na ka fo mo le ko na allowance nying ba jola kata September kan o kata feneti mi alon ko ntol ya reject le andu manta sonna wala inata fo la leta kono ko ibita sit down strike la September 1st and then badi wala tol mbe jibero la nal hakilo ba nal ya long bi mu September 1st leti anu no sol fele de ila sit down strike nyinta ka start bile la andi fele press conference kili banjul aj 22 jang nata wolto bi pour nga jibe ila press conference ibe mina fola ila press conference fola sit down strike dum iba kala bi la ba adatita bi la ba wala na hana adatita bi wati jumalam itadala sit down strike nying abe complete la mba flale ko ali Kerr Fatou folo ni ñu lañ press conference eta.
Okay, good morning everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Okay, good morning. I want to welcome the esteemed media for gracing our occasion. For a start, I want to just brief you about the formalities of the press conference. The reason why we call this press conference. We want to brief the media about the modalities of our the press conference, and also the sit-down strike that the association has organized, the way we are going about it, and also we are going to make some clarifications about the statement that was issued by the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Samada, yesterday. So my name is Yusuf Sanyang, and I'm the president of the National Association of Gambian Nurses and Midwives. So the briefing is going to go like this. The Secretary General will issue a press statement, and afterwards we will entertain questions and answers from the press, because we don't have much time and you don't want to waste your precious time here. So on this occasion, on that note, I will call the Secretary General of the Nurses Association, Mr. Usman Toure, to read the press statement.
Good morning to you all. I start by introducing myself. I am Usman Toure, the Secretary General of the National Association of Gambian Nurses and Midwives, and we are so grateful that you people are here to get this information to the general public. The reasons for calling this conference is to let Gambians know the contempt with which nurses are being treated in this country and the conditions under which they work, and also offer clarifications on the statements made by the Honorable Minister of Health in the press conference held yesterday. Globally, nurses constitute about 60% of health workforce. They provide care 24 hours round the clock for inpatients and outpatients, which constitutes for more than 75% of care for patients in health facilities. Nationally, this figure could be even more. There is no single health facility in this country without a nurse. Despite these facts, nurses are always treated with contempt. When I was a student nurse, a female nurse was slapped in front of me and I had to intervene. And the issue was run down the drains. Nothing came out of it because we are nurses. I can confirm to you that that matter was laid to rest simply because they wanted to protect some group of people or co-workers. In October 2020, a nurse by the name Bersin Jangha was physically assaulted at the Ministry of Health by a senior ministry officer simply for making inquiries about her salary that was not paid and her allowances for the COVID-19. This was a matter that went ahead to the police, but the Ministry of Health never took any disciplinary action against that person. Then in December 2020, I was personally verbally abused by one of the most senior people at the Ministry of Health. I remained calm, and the minister had to intervene to pacify me, to apologize to me on the person's behalf, but no further actions were taken to solve that problem. All these things I am telling you are to show you that nurses in this country are not respected by the Ministry of Health. Their matters means nothing to them. The reason why I am starting from this is to give you a background of all the situations that have been gathering and piling up to where we are today. The working conditions of nurses and their remuneration in this country is sad. Nurses are overworked, they are underpaid, they are underprotected against infection, they are underprotected against working colleagues, they are underprotected against even the public. When there are issues between nurses and other colleagues that goes against nurses, there is never justice. Equity or equality in the ways we are treated in the health sector, the disparities are definitely too huge. And they are not just about the finances, but even the way that we are treated and respected in the health institutions. About the remuneration of nurses, a nurse in Senegal can pay a nurse in the Gambia 3 times or more. A nurse in Ghana can pay a nurse in the Gambia 3 times or more. A nurse in Zambia and Malawi can pay a nurse in the Gambia 3 times or more. I am not just giving you baseless facts. I have been to some of these countries and I have friends in some of these countries through some international linkages that I have with them, and I inquire and find out. Just recently, my recent inquiry was in Malawi. In Malawian currency, they have 400,000 is equivalent to more than close to $30,000 in the Gambia, which can pay more than 3 nurses. You understand? Nursing is driven by passion in this country, not money. All that nurses are asking for is the minimum. Put food on the table, provide shelter, and live a minimum dignified life. This is what we are asking for. But it will sadden you to know that nurses live from paycheck to paycheck. We struggle every day with our basic needs and the needs of our families, even if you have a family of 3. This is the truth. And then I am telling you, because of the payment condition of nurses in this country, nurses work for more than 12 to 18 hours of their life and spend 4 hours sleeping and 3 hours for their family. This is the reality. For instance, an on-call allowance at the provincial Gambia used to be $200. It was ever $200, never enhanced. And if you don't understand what on-call allowance takes care of, I will make you understand, because people need to know what is happening. If you work from 8 to 4 as an in-charge in the provinces, from 4 p.m. to the next morning 8 a.m., any critical case that happens to appear at your health center, you will come. Even if you are in bed with your wife, you will get up and come. And it doesn't matter how many times it happens, you will still come. Every day it can happen, every night it can happen, and you will still come. Up to 30 days, and you are given $200 for all that sacrifice. A counterpart in the healthcare profession receives more than $10,000 for the same allowance, for the same issue. So you know the disparity is very clear. Now, problems can never be solved, obviously. Problems can never be solved if they are not identified as problems. Mistakes become willful if they are not owned up to and fixed. Leaders should not mask the true circumstances of scenarios just to paint themselves white. One of the qualities of an ethical leader is integrity, and I am telling you that it is sad that we need a lot of that in public offices in this country. We owe the nation a duty as nurses. The Ministry of Health owes the nation a duty as an institution. So if the Ministry of Health wants to achieve universal health coverage and give quality care to this nation, it needs to be brave enough to face the reality, speak the reality, do the reality to achieve the reality. This is the status quo. Coming to the press conference yesterday, I will give you a brief genesis of the situation. A press release was made on the 30th of this month, and it indicated that the paying allowances to the nurses is an initiation of the Ministry of Health. This information is misleading. I will make it clear to you. The Ministry of Health did initiate an allowance, but it was an allowance that was meant for minister himself, doctors that have moved from clinical areas to the main ministry, and PhD holders in the other cadres. In the nursing fraternity, people working with the hospitals, the PhD holders are not more than 5 in the whole country. If it is more than 5, not up to 10. Now, there were nurses who were moved from clinical areas to the Ministry of Health. They were not part of this scheme. And the justification was that those doctors that have been moved, their allowances have been cut. Because when you are at the clinical area, you are paid some allowances. That if you are not at the clinical area, you cannot be paid those allowances. But the same situation affected the nurses who moved from clinical area to ministry. The same situation affected the nurses who moved from, public health officers who moved from clinical area to ministry. The same situation affected the laboratory scientists. But when the allowance was being taken to the cabinet, those other sectors of the people at the ministry were sidelined. So this clearly shows that it was not about moving from ministry, from health facility to ministry, but it was something based on self-interest motion. And this is the reality. When it happened, I went to the Ministry of Health. I sat with the Honorable Minister because he sees me as a brother and we have that close relationship. Not on official grounds, but I told him what you have done, the approval of this allowance by the cabinet only proves to nurses and other healthcare workers that you don't care enough about them. He explained that it is something starting, but it will get to other sectors across. I said, but if it is just starting, what stopped you from including the nurses in the ministry who have been moved from the institutions? No justification was given. So I am telling you this. In August to October 2020, nurses and midwives, cognizant of that some allowances are just $100 and $200, sadly the one I explained here, they made a proposal and sent it to the Ministry of Health. The proposal was taken for bilaterals at the PMO. The PMO rejected that because it was not properly defended. And I happen to be privy to the reasons why it was not properly defended, because nurses were underrepresented at the bilaterals. And this information I am giving you is not false because I have been there always and I talk to them, they talk to me, they give me information that I need to know. So in October, when they said the bilaterals could not accept that because the government is short of resources to fund those allowances, let me even tell you the allowances. For a nurse attendant will just have an increment of not up to $2,000. An SCN second level nurses will have an increment of not up to $3,000. An RN will have an increment of not up to $4,000. These are small amounts of money that definitely needed no chaos. And that is hurting us more. We are today here not because we are not paid, but because we are forced to be against our own people. By a government, a ministry that never cared about the people and never cared about us. We had several meetings with the SG, Secretary General and Head of Civil Service, Mr. Noha Toure, at this State House Office of the President. After the meetings, it was concluded on the 11th of May at around 3 p.m. The letter was drafted the same day for nurses to be paid these allowances, the agreed allowances, 3 allowances. And that letter was sent to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, copied to the Ministry of Finance, copied to me as the Secretary General of the Association as evidence for them to hold on to their words. And do you know what led us to that? Because initially, the discussions were held, and then the agreement was that July 2021, they would pay these allowances. The SG pleaded with us during that meeting to say that the resources of the government is not much. Can we consider starting this in August? Almost all my colleagues at the committee meeting there, disagreed. They had foreseen this. But still, I was blindly trusting people. I halted that meeting for 10 minutes, took my members out of that meeting, convinced them to agree because I told them, let us look at the future. July alone is 1 month, but when this starts, it is going to continue forever. I managed to convince them somehow. We went back and agreed and compromised because we are putting the patients first. You understand? Then that letter was ignored, the letter of the SG that was dated on the 11th of May. These dates are important, please. Because the minister was saying something like, you know, when you make these payments, it goes to the bank, central bank, it takes 2-3 days. I am telling you, they had more than 100 days to solve all these problems. And I will also tell you categorically clear that everything they are saying there is just to paint themselves white. The reality of the situation is not being told to you. And you will not know if we don't speak out. That is why I am here. On the 11th of May, the letter was sent. It was ignored by the Ministry of Health under the leadership of Dr. Ahmed Samate. Because whatever happens under your ministry, whether you are conscious or subconscious of it, it is your duty to own up to it. You don't have to defend your people against the people, the larger number that you lead, against Gambians that are innocent and should receive health care. On the 17th of June, the office of SG wrote a reminder to the Ministry of Health that we sent you a letter on the 11th of May. 11th of May to the 17th of June is 1 month, 5 days. Or how many days? Yes. 1 month, 6 days. Nothing has happened. One of the most senior officers of this country write to you and you ignore it. Just because a particular cadre is neglected by you that had led you to insubordination and sabotage of the government, and you come here, you want to blame us for that. On the 17th of May, this email was sent. I have that email with me. And they cannot contest it because I have facts. On the 18th of May, some minutes after 2 o'clock, 3 p.m., I can tell you the time if I want to look at it. The email was replied by Permanent Secretary Jete to say that the minister needed to do 1 or 2 things about it, and then they will forward it to finance. Now, from 11th of May to the 18th of June, what have they done? Absolutely nothing about it. Now, 18th of May to 18th of June to 18th of July is 1 month. 18th of July to the 5th of August is almost 20 days. You understand? So, from the reminder, they did nothing. On the 24th of August, they wrote to us and say, due to computation problems, we cannot pay you these allowances this month. We have to pay you in September. Where are we dragging to? We put aside our dignity. We calmed down our people for months. We gave them promises. Because they gave us promises and assurances with later. They put us in the middle and put our integrity to a test. And this is what hurts us more. Because we decided to go against the will of nurses for July, convince them to agree with us because we trusted them. We trusted the office of the Secretary General. We trusted all the parties, Ministry of Finance, PMO, and all other parties represented at that meeting. But what did they do in the end? They waited until the 24th of August and sent us that letter that they cannot pay August anymore. They have to pay July. Integrity is a problem in this country. In September. Integrity is a problem in this country. You write to a people from the most important office of this country, and you decided to break that agreement with no justifiable reason, and you write to them to tell them that they have to wait for 1 more month. How are you sure that even a layman, a child of 2 years, can trust you if you promise him breakfast you never gave him, you promise him lunch you never gave him, and you promise him dinner he wants to trust you again? There is no way. they decided to tell you that they were working on the computation. Computation, let me tell you, it's just like entering my name, my details, and my payroll number, which should already have been existing with them as a ministry if this country is serious about its people. I'm telling you. We are suffering from institutional stagnation in this country, and this is the truth. Things that are supposed to take 1 day, take 1 month, and things that are supposed to take 1 month, take 5 years. This is why we cannot move. If somebody is, the total number of nurses in this country is not up to 3,000 people that are working. Now, 3,000 people divided by 100 days, even no matter how slow you are in typing, even if you are doing 40 people a day or 50 people a day from 8 p.m. to 4 p.m. as you are supposed to work for the government, not to be on Facebook, not to be doing unnecessary things, to be there for your people. You should be able to finish that within 100 days. One sign that can show you that they never took any decision or never took any action about this is this. On Thursday last week, which must fall around, what was the date on Thursday? It was after around 26th, around the 26th, yeah. They wrote to the hospitals and told them to make sure that they provide them with lists of their staff before 10 a.m. on that day. That's the time they gave those people. Now, something that was approved in May on the 11th, how come the names that you need, the people that you need to pay, their names are being requested on the 26th? Logically, does it make sense? How can you convince us that you were working on it? What were you working on? Empty Microsoft file documents? The names that you needed were not with you for more than 100 days. And do you know what led to them writing to the hospitals? Because they wrote to us on the 24th that they wanted to push it to September. We wrote back to them on the 25th and said this information only proves your negligence, I will say it aloud, your incompetence, your lack of concern for Gambians and the health system of this country. That is why you do this. And these words are my words. I am the secretary. I wrote them there and it is true. So when they saw that letter from us, and in that letter we told them the agreement is August, and August 31st, if nothing happens, whatever comes out of it, you will have to face the Gambians and explain to them, not us. Then this was what triggered them to put pressure on the hospitals. So meaning the September proposal they made to us was just a mere fake information. Because if at all they got the release from the hospitals earlier, we would have understood that they were working on it, but they were late. But they only started working on it on the 26th. And this I can attest to you. That is why the letters were sent to the hospitals, for them to give them the names of their staff. You understand? So when the names were sent, on the 31st, they had another plan. That is, let us just make sure we fast track and pay a few of them, to make sure that somebody is paid and somebody can say, I am paid. So that when they go on strike, we can go and fool the Gambian people by telling them that we even paid them, but they still went on strike. The reality is the lists of the hospitals is still kept in their offices. They are going back and forth from ministry PS's office to treasury, from treasury back to ministry back to treasury, because 1 or 2 things went wrong, because somebody somewhere did not do his job, because it was late, it was done in a haste, and nothing can go accurately. So this is the reality of the situation. Nurses embark on a sit-down strike. We would have shut down the entire health system. 80%, I told you, average of healthcare delivery is done by nurses. If 80% is withdrawn from anything, what is left? Nothing. We are considerate and we are compassionate towards the Gambian people. And that is the reason why we decided to put even the sit-down strike in stages. Stage 1, emergency services. Our mothers, pregnant women will be taken care of. Our people in the ICUs will be taken care of. Our people in the dialysis unit will be taken care of. COVID-19 centers would continue operating because we don't want people to die. We want to send them a message, and we have sent them a message. Other departments have not been working, are not working today, and this will continue for 3 days. If they are serious about us and the people of this country, they will try to make sure they fulfill the agreement in 3 days. And after 3 days, on the 1st of September, if they fail to honor this agreement, there will be total shutdown of nursing healthcare services in this country. This is not my position. This is the position of nurses and midwives in this country. I happen to be a leader amongst them, but I don't control them. They decide, and I go ahead, rationalize with them, talk to them, and that is what I have been doing all this while. That is what we have been doing all this while. But since the Ministry of Health has decided to fail this nation, there is nothing much we can do. We have to make sure the reality prevails. In conclusion, the satisfaction of nurses is a key determinant of ensuring quality healthcare service delivery. Threatening them or asking them to resign is definitely not a wise decision a leader should take. As a leader, you should put yourself in the shoes of your subordinates and put their interests first. Nurses' salaries can barely put food on the plates. Nurses merely want to meet the basic minimums, food, water, and shelter. We live from paycheck to paycheck, and that is the reality of our situation. I thank you all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Usman. I think you have stated our position very clearly. The reason why we are embarking on this sit-down strike is not out of our will, but we want to show to the general public that the Ministry of Health, they are not people that usually stick to their words. Because as he said, this thing has been going on for months. They still cannot implement a very simple tax, which is just to input the name, the payroll number, and the amount that the individual should receive. So for up to 100 days. So at this point, why we don't want to go for a complete sit-down, because we want to give, we are extremely concerned about the welfare of the general public. That's why we said we are just going to provide limited service. But I think if they care about the health of the public, as the SG said, they will honor the agreement within these 3 days and make sure that every single nurse who's supposed to receive this salary or the allowance receives his or her allowance. That is from now against Friday. So at this juncture, I will entertain questions and answers from the press. So the executive is here to answer the questions. Anyone who wants to answer any question, you can raise your hand and you come forward. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. I'll just say briefly and the others can respond or add on to that. First, I don't know whether you were listening to what the SG was saying, that this was a move that was geared towards, like, say you pay some, let's just rush and pay some, so that when they say that they have received, others will say, okay, let's forget about them. The basic health service is just a component. The total number of staff we have at the Edward Fund is small. It's more than the nurses, or it's equal to nurses in the basic health services. So if we are paid some, and not in fact everybody has received, our motto is pay every nurse and we continue the service. That's the basic. But we don't want a situation where they will pay few as what they did in the COVID-19 allowance. Still now up to today, some nurses did not benefit, and the things goes like that. So we don't want this status quo to remain. We want every nurse to receive his or her due. Okay, about political involvement, I think that was a very misleading statement by the minister. I think he was the one who was playing the political gimmicks, not the nurses. Our professors, we are professionals and we are apolitical. You've never walked into any health facility that a nurse manifests his political affiliation to you. We don't care for our patient based on political affiliation. We care for them based on a nurse-patient relationship, that he is your patient and you have to care. There is no political influence in this, our nursing strike. We are not involved with any political party. I think he was the one who was playing political games. Because some of the statement he in fact is saying, materials are available. Let him come out and show, or you can take you around and show you where are the materials. Put him to tax. I think some of those things, when they are mentioned, put him to tax to take you around to basic health facilities or even the hospital here, which is the closest. Let the minister take you there and tell you that there are materials. Even the simple thing, gloves. You go to banks, you see excess of gloves. Their nurses have to use one glove for 20 patients. Our procedure is, even if you are caring for one patient, like you are dressing the leg, once you use that glove, you should discard that glove. When you are caring for the head, you wear a new glove. But instead of that, you are using one glove to care for all the patients. That's true. And you are putting their life at risk. But you cannot leave them like that and let them die like that. If he said those gloves are available, we can say now, provide the gloves and we will work. If you don't provide the works, we continue. We sit down until gloves are available. Or you put him to tax, so take you around to those places where he said the materials are available. And telling the public that we usually hide those materials and ask them to go and buy those materials. I think no statement can be more false than that. No statement. Nursing we are all professionals. Professional like any professional that can be. So the issue is that statement is never true. Nobody will hide. If he has evidence, why not he sue that individual? But you are just making claims. If you know that is existing and you are not taking that person to tax, then what is your role now? Maybe you are also complicit in that act. So let him take the individual who is doing that, those that are holding the materials, and asking the public to go and buy. He should do that, or else he is not doing his job properly. This is what I don't know whether I have answered your question, or others who want to say something can add on to that. You have something to say. You want to say something?
Yes. What was the third question?
This complete shutdown.
Oh, okay. So, as you will respond to that. Sorry. Yusuf.
Go to the center.
So my name is Asana Dabo. I am the PRO of the Nurses and Midwives Association. To respond to the question that you asked about the minister referring us to be backed by politicians, I want to make it categorically clear that NAGAM is non-political, like the president said. We're non-partisaned. Our roles and responsibilities are to address the welfare and the concern of nurses throughout the country. We are cognizant with the fact that the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, is the President of the Gambia and is our President, has nurses, and we all respect. And in fact, in our constitution, every year the association, the executive members should meet the President to tell him about the plans that we have for our nurses and also to seek advice from him. And plans are on the way to meet the President of the Republic as an executive member to talk to him about the plans that we have. It was very myopic for the Minister of Health of the country to come and think about the nursing professions is associated with politics. It is very important to clear it out that after sending that message on the Facebook page, I sent it in my capacity as the PRO of the Nurse and Midwife Association. I understand that I tagged some other people which I was not aware of, and later I was notified that some people were tagged. And I tagged these people because I was not aware that I was tagging them. I wanted to tag my members, but some instance, things happen, and we are all human beings. And I will sincerely apologize to the people that I tagged. They are not, I don't have any relationship with them. I don't share any political opinion with them. So I just tagged them mistakenly. So I want to apologize to those people, Mr. Mohamed Sabali and Omar C. But in fact, for Omar C is a veteran nurse, an ophthalmologist. So tagging him, I think, even mistakenly wouldn't be a problem. For Modou Sabally, I think he will not take any legal action against me, but I want to apologize for tagging him, not the Ministry of Health. So let the Honorable Minister of Health be cognizant with the fact that noises are non-political. He cannot come and say that we are being backed by politicians. We have never and ever consulted any political party, any political leader, or any individual politicians, any actions that we are taking. It was very, very misleading, and then it was a very unprofessional statement from the side of the Minister of Health. The threats that he has been saying all over the media about the nurses, the threats, we are used to it. I will tell you a short scenario. When the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Samate, was appointed in office, the first profession that he victimized was nurses in this country. And unlawfully, I am going to make it clear that nurses at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital held a press conference to engage the community, the general public, about the frustration that they are faced with at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. In fact, under the leadership of Dr. Ahmad Samate when he was the CMD at the time. So we can see leadership deficiency from the starting point. There was a serious leadership deficiency since at the starting point. When Dr. Samate was the minister of CMD, things were not going well at the hospital, at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. Notice came out to engage the general public to tell their frustration to them. On that very day of the press conference, in the evening, the letter was received that Dr. Ahmad Samate was appointed as the Minister of Health. On that particular day, the day of the press conference. In the evening of the press conference, nurses came together to cherish and celebrate Dr. Samate because we believe that he will make changes when he goes to the ministerial level. After some days, a letter was sent to the association, EFS State Nursing Association, from the Hospital Management Board to summon the executive members for a meeting headed by the board chairman, Dr. Sala. In attendance was Dr. Ahmad Samate in his capacity as the Minister of Health at the time and also as the CMD at the time. Dr. Charles Robert was Deputy CMD. The former Chief Matron, Mr. Patesaho, was also in attendance, and other veteran nurses and the executive members of the EFS State Association. During that meeting, Dr. Samate came lately. He was going to accompany the president at the airport. When he arrived, he vetted his anger, his antagonist against nurses. From there, he said so many bitter words and left immediately. He couldn't even listen to the other side of the story. Dr. Mahmoud Salah warned the executive members and told them that it was illegal for them to convey a press conference. I don't know where did he get the legal advice from. Our position still remained the same at the time. Again, from that meeting, the warning letter was sent to us from the administration, from the Hospital Management Board. The executive of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital replied to that and made their position very clear and maintained their position.
When they came, instead of Karamba, who spoke on behalf of the minister, commemorating the day, he went there and started ridiculing us. And I combated his statements. I combated it very well because my people cannot be insulted by anybody. When that happened, we said we should have a dialogue with them on matters affecting the health system and the nurses. Remember, they were supposed to be at the ceremony. At least one person should be there at the entire ceremony. But after combating his statements, the three of them all got up and said they wanted to leave. And they gave an excuse that there is an urgent meeting going on at the Ministry of Health. That meeting could have had two of them there and one of them with us. They are not the minister, they are not the permanent secretary. They could be represented by other people. But they left because they don't want to answer to the people of this country on the flaws of the health system. And that is not the right way to lead people. You don't mask your flaws, you face them boldly and solve problems. This is what we should do as a nation. But that is not what is happening in the health sector. So in May, after that press conference, every message I sent him was not replied. Every call I made to him was not picked. I decided not to go to his office because our relationship was more than that. He would call me at 11 a.m. or 12 a.m. at night and we will still talk. But after the press conference, after the nurses celebration, that stopped. I wanted to advise him on this matter before today, to be honest, as a brother, as someone he calls a brother. To advise him to make sure PS does the job that is requested after the reminder was sent on the 17th June, but every message I sent him was never replied, every call I made was never answered. But this is a platform to advise him. Let him take the health care system seriously by taking nurses seriously. This idea of coming to mask situations will not work because we know what is happening and we can say what is happening. And that is what we are saying today. I don't know what will happen to the relationship. I have nothing against him as a person, but I have something against him as a ministry that derails every effort that is made by nurses, and every compromise we took to avert this situation ran down the drains just because they didn't do their work properly.
Sorry, I have a question regarding the ministry's threat to the nurses fraternity. Anyways, I am Landin Sisa from Kerr. The minister said, those nurses who are going to sit without going to work today, by the name of the strike, will be punished. What will be the next step of nurses if even one of you been punished because of the sit-down strike?
Our philosophy is simple. It is one for all for one. No one is left in isolation. Whoever takes themselves out of the group to isolate themselves, we have no control over that. Like I said, we are a democratic, not an autocratic executive group. If somebody chooses to be on their own, we will leave you to be on your own. And if you choose to come back, we will welcome you. But if somebody is victimized for being one of us, that person will never be left alone. And it will be easy to remove a few people, a few folks at the public office, than remove all nurses from the healthcare system. No government can risk it. No government in this world can risk it. If you follow the World Health Organization Secretary General, he would always commend nurses, thank nurses for what they are doing during this pandemic. The pandemic would have been a catastrophe if nurses were left behind. This is the reality. So if the health system thinks, or if the ministry thinks that the government of the Gambia will be left by the public of the Gambia to make nurses entirely leave this health services for the sake of 10 people, it is not working. It doesn't work that way. And if they want to take means of perhaps dictatorship, which I don't think they will, let them go and build bigger prisons, because we are all ready to go in together. You can go aloud a little.
I'm considering the fact that this is not the first time the Gambian nurses are proposing a sit-down strike. And how optimistic are you that the Ministry of Health will fulfill some of the demands that we highlight in this regard within a duration of 7 years?
Well, you want to
It's not the first time.
Yeah, you want to Let it.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. This is not the first time that the nurses have threatened to go on sit-down strike. That's true. Within 72 hours, it's left to the Ministry of Health to save the entire country. But the signs and symptoms that we are seeing as of now, as far as we are concerned at this point in time, the Ministry of Health is not doing what they're supposed to do to address this issue to save the entire country. And that shows that the Ministry of Health doesn't care about the health of our system. The larger group like nurses demand that they should be paid within 72 hours, or else there will be a serious health crisis in this country, which will be catastrophic. And I can tell you, we mean this, and we will do it. Nothing will come out from the Ministry of Health except threatening the nurses, telling them to go to work and go against their decision. Is that not dictatorial? That is the worst dictatorial that we could ever see. So we are telling the general public and the journalists that nothing can change our position except if the Ministry of Health pay the entire nurses of this country. We have seen how the situations are. If Dr. Samara is claiming that we have materials, like the president said, we have evidences that even Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, requisitions have been made for gloves, for masks, from the wards, from the theaters. And in fact, as we are speaking right now, patients, even an emergency operation, will buy gloves. We have to wait until your family members buy a glove, and we do our emergency CS for you. Yesterday, Dr. Samara made it very clear that nurses are prescribing things for the patients to buy, that's a sabotage to the system. I want to make it clear to the general public that at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, nurses are not allowed to prescribe. So if Dr. Samaras said that that's a sabotage to the system, I think he is now talking to the people who are prescribing for the patients to go and buy. So that states that nurses are not prescribing for any patient at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. So this, in fact, exposed Dr. Samaras, like we stated in our statement, that the incompetency to know the system properly. As the minister, you don't even know what is happening in your health system. You don't even know the protocol at the country's teaching hospital. In fact, we are not being political, but we have to refer ourselves to the people who are in support of our development. Quite a number of times, myself and some of the group of the nurses from the School of Nursing and Midwifery will approach the office of the mayor as a member of the board at the Edward Francis, not in his capacity as a politician, her capacity as a politician, to ask her to give us boxes of masks. The mayor will help us boxes of masks in her capacity as a member of the board member at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. Quite a number of times that myself and group of people will go to her office and she will give us a lot of face masks to be distributed among our nurses. She saved so many nurses from so many infectious diseases. If not for her intervention, most of the nurses here would have been contracted with COVID-19 and other infectious diseases, because she constantly provides us with face masks. Of recent, there is a total shortage of water at the school where we train our nurses to become a veteran nurses in this country at the school. Mayor has to intervene. She has to intervene to make sure she dig a borehole and provide materials for the nurses at the particular at the school, so that they can benefit from that, and the nurses who are staying at the hospital can also get benefit from all these things. Many times we feel ashamed to go to her office to talk to her and beg her things, but because the love that she has for the Gambian women, because that's the love that she has for the people at the hospitals and the people of Banjul and the other people, the mayor is always on her feet. Anytime I knocked at her door, she supplies us with materials. What is our ministry doing instead of blaming James? So the Ministry of Health is boasting that they are sponsoring nurses to specialize in midwifery and anesthesia. What a leadership problem at the ministry. We have a problem, we want to solve the problem. It's not to boast. I am the PRO. Is it a miracle to award a PRO a scholarship? I was awarded a scholarship by the Minister of Health. And this scholarship was not because I called anybody to help me or I have a relative. These scholarships were based on merit. Everybody who was awarded to do their specialized skills in anesthesia and midwifery went through a rigorous training, interviews, to be awarded a scholarship, which I also went through, and I was awarded a scholarship. So I should call a press conference to tell the entire country the minister awarded me a scholarship? I never know. I would have done that. So, in fact, finally, I was awarded a scholarship since when I was in grade 7, from the former regime at Jambi Foundation. Up to grade 12, I was having a scholarship based on merit. When I completed my grade 12 at the University of the Gambia, my first degree, I was awarded a scholarship from the Ministry of Higher Education under Yaya Jammeh's leadership. So if the Ministry of Health is coming today and they award me a scholarship, I am telling them that in my capacity as the PRO, I took the scholarship, I am doing my specialized area in anesthesia, I'll complete my program and go back to the remote villages in the country and serve my people at the Kato at Koina. I am going to take this scholarship. I'll be here come 2022, 2023. I'll complete my specialized area in anesthesia and my colleagues in the area of midwifery. I will be happy for the minister to take me to Koina to serve my Gambian people. The scholarship is not from any of their pocket or the office of the Minister of Health. It's from the Ministry of Health that the poor Gambian people and the farmers are the ones that are paying for us, not the Ministry of Health. So they cannot take credit for that, please. So I want to make the category clear for that.
Thank you very much. Let me make some let me make clarification on that questions. Like there is blood stain on the floor and nurses are not doing their duty. First of all, that is not the job description of nurses. We have orderlies that's supposed to be cleaning the floor. I worked at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. If you go to A&E, it is overcrowded. As he said, patients are currently lying on the floor. In my capacity as a staff or a senior staff in Edward Francis Small, I made this suggestion. Even to him, himself was there on that day when he was going, I met with him about the congestion in that place. I told him that the veranda here where the ambulance usually stopped, the place is there lying, it's not, how will I call it? It's futile. what they can do is to find aluminium seats and just put an enclosure in that place. That place you can have 10 beds, just as a way of, decreasing the congestion in that place, so that patients will not be lying on the floor. What was his response? He said they have now handed over social welfare to Edward Fatou Small Teaching Hospital. But before you go and spend millions to renovate that social welfare, this place you can just spend $100,000, less than $100,000, and remedy the whole congestion situation at A&E. But people come with their suggestions. Yeah, even A&E, when COVID started, there was a room that was used as a lab. I went up to the management of Edward Fatou Small. I told him that what we can do as a contingency is, let's renovate this lab, open it, so that any patient that comes with infectious disease, before they enter into the ward, they will be stationed at that place, and someone will wear a full PPE and come and examine that individual, whether he's COVID-19 or not. They neglected that suggestion. You know what happened when the Senegalese team came, and they paid millions of dollars for that Senegalese team to lodge in hotels. I gave that suggestion. They never listened to it. The Senegalese, when they came, it was the same suggestion that they give. Immediately within 24, they start renovating at that place. Now, even today, the renovation is not completed. Go there. I'm not giving you. So people are here, they give them suggestions. We come with tangible suggestions. But because, I don't know whether they are not committed or the idea is not coming from them, they are not listening to it. You understand? We give them lots of suggestions. Personally, advise them about things. But maybe because it's come from a nurse like Yusuf Sanyang, maybe they don't value him. They think that the Senegalese are more educated than us. That's why they don't value. But you spend $10,000 on Senegalese, their trip, they come and give you the same suggestion.
Ngafaleko, mayor of the Banjul City Council, America politics diamori, but ala capacity in kama. Ka fu lopano la board member ma nga fuda ma wato wade ka dani bagaso la hani face mask meyo membe Banjul wala kam ma koy face mask to atle boholo sin kram mo pour kram do nol kay muna fala no sol men yango be kan kala no sia karam ni manga politique diamuti ban kraka na ina capacity has no sol ka dani fon la fon kam malu ka tan dala ko le fa nyin nyin la bara nyim fo mo le ko tumo do be fon ata fon ko bojo do nyin soto but I can make sure because I cannot make sure musole ka musole man lefe ka musole ya fati ngoto ka make sure hana ba fon la account le withdraw la kan to la sulo nyin jabi aka kele vraiment wato wati mais ka fem bonda jibo ka di mon la so ni ministre ka tata sing office ko ka fa mo le ko le plan non seulement de ko ke gang bagasol bijele director of health service même do tambi safa bitedi alors janna ak media ko bagasol le plan non le woni bidé han sa bagas manje ni kunu ministre fa nar lo ko mo le ko bagasol bijele say banko mo ba fa ministre ko bagasol min to la ay tan ni mo la say ye media commande ni yo ka don tabe resign ka bo PR royal ni ministre media commande ko bagasol fa le resign wolu wala bagasol mon soto le plano do hani pesno be tingoto nga safa eta e bagasol sa yek glo fo sa yek borol sang docteur lo ka safero kay so banko be nyamendo say den na health system o amantra ta ka nyama wala tinako naranga na press conference kumandi ka mol kumandi kay tan dilako ko be la den tentile so wayata na nga tentu ngal jay kana ke dankuma na press conference la ala baraka baake
mbadi comme ngal ya moy nyame wala kata no sol le executive member ti la association of minkara national Association of Gambian Nurses and Midwives, ye statement of the eco itol ila sit down strike ibe continue la and then ye treat ye kuma kan fa minkata minister la kuma kan mi alon ko ay silandi ko no so no sita jang imante ta do ko la ibe police la le bari la PRO minkata sana bayro daboti ako ni no skilima wala ngindi ko Gambia la health system a bebe collapsed lale so it will be diamond it will be continue le sit down strike lale until government yela do ko ke nginta kam minke ala baraka bake alla jiber ko ni mala alnal badim malam landi cissé Kerr Fatou mi muta camera to wala Baboucar Sonkoti DJ Rocky bi a baraka bake
waaw love like fire xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin ngeen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentey tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skin care plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes you know fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi taas kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii love like fire bring my love like fire
Agada
ke mbijan no aga nyaade
albaka
mbaka important
yo nga transfer la sto
ya transfer la
ha code nyinji
okay korsa nsila id soto
sa soto sorry agada
mbijan ro
albaka
mbaka
bara alla service o tariya
bare
ki janna nun kunu bara tariya
jannom yona forest de bureau Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere birin koyna fo katon
bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong labe
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam
ha
Gambia kono ani Gambia e bantala bankol nko kodo kiya bere kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 ti nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dil fana beteat Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelen da
baraka ni na lafta nyelan kendol e binaji
yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel chosano lo
baraka
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.